farmers have travelled to Brussels to protest against the EU-Mercosur agreement, a contentious trade pact with South America.
As EU leaders met in Brussels to discuss Ukraine funding via Russian assets, Luxembourg PM Luc Frieden urged unity, stressing rule of law over confiscation.
The U.S. military said 4 people were killed after it attacked another boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean.
Thousands of farmers have travelled to Brussels on Thursday to protest against the EU-Mercosur agreement, a contentious trade pact with South America. While EU leaders gathered for a major summit nearby, farmers blocked roads with tractors, threw potatoes and set off fireworks. Supporters of the deal say it would unlock new markets vital to the EU economy, but critics fear it would weaken environmental regulations and damage the agricultural sector.
Nous, ce qu'on demande, c'est de vivre de notre travail et surtout être contre le Mercosur parce que bon, si on importe de la viande, des produits des pays étrangers que eux ils respectent pas les mêmes normes que nous, ce n'est pas normal. Et nous, on a beaucoup de normes à respecter, eux ils n'en ont pas à respecter et on importe quand même des produits de pays étrangers qui respectent aucune norme.
Under the accord, tariffs on nearly all goods traded between the EU and the Mercosur nations would be eliminated over a 15-year period. At the summit, the leaders of 27 EU member states are set to decide whether to endorse or postpone the trade deal for further amendments. French President Emmanuel Macron maintains his opposition and called for more negotiations in January. Macron said he had discussed delaying the agreement with counterparts from Italy, Poland, Belgium, Austria and Ireland.
On Wednesday, the EU Council and Parliament agreed on a set of safeguard measures to protect the farmers. The agreement now needs the backing of member states, but some countries like France think this is too premature and have asked to delay the vote. Brazil has now issued an ultimatum and has given EU leaders until Saturday to sign the agreement. Evelyn Dom in Brussels for Euronews.
European leaders gathered in Brussels on Thursday for a crucial summit to discuss urgent issues to be resolved before the end of the year, including how to finance Ukraine from the beginning of 2026. Luxembourg Prime Minister Luc Frieden told Euronews Europe needs to unite to find a solution to continue support for Ukraine.
I think what matters is that we stay focused on our objective, and that is to provide Ukraine with necessary financial means to survive in this war, because it's a war against Ukraine. It's a war that jeopardizes everything that we have built up after the Second World War. Borders cannot be changed by force, and so we want to support Ukraine, and we are looking for the means to continue on a sustainable path to support Ukraine.
Belgium, which hosts the majority of the frozen Russian assets the EU hopes to mobilize to fund Ukraine, remains opposed to the so-called reparations loan that leaders hope to approve during the summit. Frieden said he is optimistic a solution will be reached.
I think we are moving into the right direction, but it will remain extremely complex. This is, as I said, from a legal point of view, this is extremely difficult because we don't want to do a confiscation of assets because we need to keep the rule of law. Financial stability also means that assets that are in Europe cannot be taken away by a political decision.
Frieden also stressed the importance of support for Belgium.
Of course, I mean, Belgium is a country that is used to many compromises, but this is a compromise among all of us. Europe is a group of 27 countries, and we need together to find solutions. It's about the future of our continent. It's about whether we want a continent where force decides on how the future is decided or whether it's in a peaceful manner. And we want a peaceful manner.
Fearing retaliation from Russia, Belgium has asked for ironclad guarantees from its European allies before it agrees to back the reparations loan.
Airport workers across Europe are staging strikes during the Christmas rush, demanding better pay and conditions. On Tuesday, ground staff, airline crew and air traffic controllers in Italy walked out for 4 hours at major airports, including Rome, Milan and Venice. In the UK, EasyJet ground crew at London Luton will strike from 19 to 22 December and again from Boxing Day until the 29th. SAS cabin crew at Heathrow are also walking out on 22 to 24 and 26th of December. affecting Scandinavian routes. Spain is experiencing regular Ryanair baggage handler walkouts at airports such as Barcelona, Madrid and Malaga until the end of December. Unions call it Grinch-style behavior from low-paying employers during peak travel seasons.
The U.S. military said 4 people were killed after it attacked another boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Trump has justified the attacks as a necessary escalation to combat drug trafficking and asserted the U.S. is engaged in an armed conflict with drug cartels. Tensions have risen with Venezuela as Trump expressed willingness to conduct strikes on land and ordered a blockade this week on sanctioned oil vessels coming into and out of Venezuela. Trump vowed to continue the military buildup until the country gave the U.S. oil, land, and assets, though it was not clear why he felt the U.S. had a claim.
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
The Trump administration is facing increasing scrutiny from congressional Democrats over the boat strike campaign. House Republicans rejected Democratic-backed resolutions on Wednesday that would have forced the government to seek authorization from Congress before continuing its attacks. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the campaign as a successful counter-narcotic effort, but did not inform Congress about its ultimate goals when it comes to Venezuela. U.S. President Donald Trump delivered a politically charged speech as he addressed the nation on primetime television on Wednesday, claiming victories during his first year in office despite growing disapproval about the economy. Public polling shows most U.S. adults are frustrated with his handling of the economy as inflation picked up after his tariffs raised prices and hiring slowed. In his speech, Trump insisted his policies would bring down costs and strengthen the job market.
This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore.
Trump blamed challenges his country is facing on Democrats and his predecessor, Joe Biden.
1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months.
2026 will be a test for Trump's leadership as the nation heads into the midterm elections that will decide control of the House and the Senate.
After more than half a century, the Oscars will depart ABC and will begin streaming on YouTube. 2028 will be the last year that the US TV channel will broadcast the Academy Awards, making it the end of an era. Several media are calling it a seismic shift, but top representatives of the Academy said the shift of the show to YouTube will make it more accessible to a broader worldwide audience. They say the move will be beneficial to both Academy members as well as the film community. The Academy Awards will stream for free worldwide on YouTube. It will be available with audio tracks in several languages, in addition to closed captioning. YouTube will not only stream the award show itself, but will also include red carpet coverage, stream the Governor's Awards, and the Oscar nominations announcement.
If you had to choose a timepiece which you would always put on again and again and again, that timeless watch, what would it be for you?
Oh, that I can't answer. That's very difficult.
Well, I'd absolutely take the RWC Portuguese Eternal Calendar that won last year because that actually keeps going on forever. So that's the one, if you have one watch forever, that's the one you got to go for.
Do you have a favorite?
Of course.
And are you going to tell us?
Surely not. My favorite remains probably the first Finissimo we crafted, the tourbillon manual winding. That's right back in 2014, so 11 years ago. And this is a very simple watch. You hardly understand that it's a very, very complex watch. So it's pretty low-key. At the same time, it's very rewarding because you know you have really a treasure on the wrist.
Maybe the 1518 from Patek Philippe, the one that sold for 17 million.
The best watch for me that I have today is the Gerald Charles Remastered Jumping Hour.
I would put on the perpetual calendar as a complication. I found it a very romantic complication that continues setting the time for years, decades, and potentially centuries ahead.
I believe it would be the Happy Sport.
Without
that I
any
have,
hesitation.
that I have designed over like almost 30 years ago.
That would be the Piaget Andy Warhol with the Tiger Eye dial. To me, it's the watch that really stands out, yet tells an amazing story, not only in American art history, if you like, but also in Swiss watchmaking from one of the very finest Piaget.